by the Fire. I'm Wildfire, and today we'll be reading Still Chasing Time. Before we settle in with our story, remember to like and subscribe for my algorithm, for your algorithm, and to keep me encouraged. That being said, grab your comfort beverage if you can. Mine is Blackberry Dr. Pepper today, and enjoy the story. Still Chasing Time is part of a series called To Be Your Lonely Neighbor by The Moon is Dead. This is a multi-ship fic rated for general audiences. Standard operating procedure means I'll be censoring language to a certain extent due to certain characters, see Dabi for reference, with the author's blessing, of course. Neither I nor the author own My Hero Academia or its characters. Summary. There's a moment of silence wherein Dabi convinces himself of Keigo's sincerity. Promptly, he nods. And that, everyone, is our sign that Zazu here has had enough to drink. At least pick a red bird. He flutters his wings pointedly. Come on, Aniki. Natsuo smirks. He might have a point. Then I'll call him Iago. I'm not the villain here. But you are the one with your stick up your butt, so bluebird it is. Ha! Bluebird means blue balls. Rumi snorts. Now that's fitting. Okay, so we're getting off track. Let's talk about this Prime Minister gig. Shouto interrupts. Aizawa mouths gig with exhausted disappointment. Or Keigo decides he deserves to be entertained. Rumi balls up her fists after Dabi beats her for the 4th time in a row at speed. Hero. What would Rumi say if he tried to kill me over a card game? Keigo watches with rapt interest as a vein bulges in Rumi's temple. Her girlfriend of 3 months is in the second bedroom helping Natsuo study for an upcoming test, but the rabbit hero keeps her voice low just in case. I don't know. Dabi smirks. Am I hiding, or are you trying to stay on her good side? Sounds like you're the one making excuses. You are so lucky she likes you. Count your freaking days. Already do. He grins, all teeth. I'd return the sentiment, but you already know you're lucky she likes you. A pleased air comes over Rumi. She smiles, a dirt-eating grin. You're gonna grow on me, Scarface, even if you are lousy card game cheater. Just the card games thing, then? Not the villainy? It's been roughly 8 months of Dabi growing on her, and it's safe to say that the two of them have spent over 2/3 of that time as friends. Laid out on the couch and flipping through the channels, Keigo laughs. Love your priorities, Rooms. Me and mines come first and foremost. Way before any bureaucratic heroics nonsense. I want for Yumi to be mine forever, and she comes with this burnt baggage. Rumi's eyes widen as she abruptly throws down her cards. Ah! That's why you're winning! Stupid firework burning through the alcohol. Shouto comes out of Dabi's bedroom, texting on his phone. You didn't figure that out after he got you for 20,000 yen playing Go Fish? Dabi grins. Villain's gotta eat. Thumper's lucky Pretty Bird took her wallet. Keigo's feathers fluff lazily at the complimentary epithet. Otherwise, she'd be living on the streets at this rate. His loose feathers catch the shot glass Rumi chucks at him. A lousy thanks, but she probably only launched it because Keigo laughed at her just now. To get back in her good graces, he says, At least her drinking habits are better than yours, Shokun. You can't tell me Mirko has never drunkenly fought a statue. Very true. Point to Shouto. I've seen video evidence of her doing so while sober. That quirk supremacist had it coming, she argues. Dabi raises his glass in support. At least I didn't injure myself in the process. You don't even remember who you tried to beat up, you little gremlin. Because people with common sense don't want to physically fight statues. I was drunk. Delinquent. Dabi laughs, ruffling the teen's hair affectionately. Shouto only puts in a half-hearted effort to escape the gesture before sitting with his brother at the table. Speaking of, Keigo frowns, shouldn't you be at the UA dorms right now? Aizawa-sensei is coming to escort me back. The brothers pick up the playing cards and begin a much more evenly matched game. He wants to talk to you, Aniki. In my defense, Dabi immediately argues, I didn't burn anything important off. I just threatened him. Shouto stops in the middle of picking up a 3 of spades, so Dabi reluctantly reconsiders. Thoroughly, yes, but not irreparably. Anyway, Mina was complaining about it in class, and she suggested throwing a fundraiser to pay you to complete the job. Sensei's coming to make sure you don't let her contract your services. She wants to pay me for that? Dabi scoffs. The very next second, the front door opens to reveal Aizawa, and the villain adjusts almost imperceptibly. Unfortunately for him, Eraserhead is too experienced. I won't take Lava Girl's money. Code for you do it for free. Aizawa grumbles with a glare no less sharp for the semi-permanent exhaustion that characterizes the man. Equally unacceptable, you blasted problem child. Over Dabi's mumbling about joyless buzzkills, Keigo and Rumi greet in unison. Eraser! Mirko. Hawks. He tilts his head. Rumi laughs. Our support group founder. Newbies. He allows. Aizawa eyes Fuyumi and Natsuo as they come out of the other bedroom. And resident enablers. Favorite teacher. Please tell Fuyumi that taking breaks is a healthy and necessary part of studying. Aizawa-san, please tell Natsuo that studying is actually the most important part of studying. Fuyumi scrubs at her eyes underneath her lenses. An indistinct grumbling that makes her resemble her oldest brother released under her breath. We barely got through a quarter of what you said you needed. I told you not to bother. Dabi hums, dealing between himself and Shouto. He's hopeless. Shouto waits for his brother to finish, then collects the deck and reshuffles it. I'm not Rumi. Growing boys gotta eat too, Aniki. I'm the one feeding you. He rolls his eyes. So believe me, I know. Keigo wonders, how do you make money, Dobbs? It's not like villainy pays much. Street walking. Keigo opens his mouth, ready to help ensure that Dabi has enough supplies and safety measures in place, but he gets cut off. I'm messing with you, hero. You think people are really lining up the block to mess around with me? Keigo isn't sure how he's going to respond, but it's probably for the best that, eyes aglow, Aizawa threatens, do not have that conversation right now. Toy's a pool shark, Natsuo informs. He cheats in card games, too. Occasionally, he's also an arsonist for hire. Between the 4 of us, we generally contribute enough to make everyone's ends meet. Then there's his blackmail scheme. No, don't get comfortable, Todoroki Natsuo. Fuyumi points menacingly. You need to study. You said you wanted a water break. Put the cards down. Shouto continues dealing Natsuo into a game of war. Natsu always begs for help, then acts like you're inconveniencing him by listening. You're the only one who keeps falling for it, Nii-chan. I can't just not help him. I don't know if he'll ever be able to become a doctor. Fuyumi despairs, accepting her place in Rumi's enthusiastic, consoling embrace. It's doubtful at best. Dabi agrees. Natsuo smiles brightly at the slander. Love you too, guys! So glad you all believe in me, guys! If you're finished. Aizawa deadpans. Todoroki Toya, I'm serious. Do not further engage. The great pervert, yes, I know. Even though he totally has it coming. I don't want excuses about you forgetting our talk again. Aizawa sighs, taking Dabi's drink out of his hand mid-sip. He pours it down the drain after a quick sniff test. There's actual alcohol in here this time. Tequila? Dabi shrugs. I barely have anything here because we have to be mindful of the brat.
You don't, actually.
Shouto shudders.
I don't like alcohol. I won't drink it again.
You don't like tequila, Natsuo corrects. You don't know yet about... That one's a terrible influence. Dabi points at Natsuo, and Yumi's Yumi.
We can and should at least abstain from the one substance that makes your decision-making skills even worse than they already are.
Fuyumi snaps.
Every time I turn around, one of you idiots is about to break your own neck just because it's another day that ends in Y.
Even Bertie helped them toss out all my good stuff, since I caught him.
Nobody asked, Dabi!
Keigo interrupts.
Eraser is talking about Shouto's classmate now. Pay attention!
Dabi mouths a silent imitation of the hero. Keigo can practically hear it, so used to Dabi's antagonism that his feathers sharpen automatically. Shouto opens his mouth too, likely to argue about the asymmetry of his own drunken escapades being broadcasted, while Keigo gets to keep his secret. But such is life, and the teen should learn that lesson young. Keigo, very maturely, sticks his tongue out at the pair of them before expectantly looking at Aizawa. The teacher, blessedly, speaks up before anyone else can get a word in edgewise. The psychological damage that you caused, Dabi, was enough to make Mineta take a leave of absence. He's forfeited his seat in class, and Ashido will have to be satisfied with that for now. Ah, so Minizawa's getting bumped up then, right? Dabi turns the full force of his amusement onto Aizawa. Congrats! Shinso Hitoshi has the opportunity to fight for the seat, yes. Not a word, Dabi. Not sure how, but you definitely cheated, Sho, Natsuo accuses, out of the game. Shouto and Natsuo bicker, while Dabi focuses on Eraser. I've got something for you. Aizawa raises a brow in reluctant interest. Dabi is an absolute terror, yes, but he rarely wastes Eraserhead's time. Keigo would appreciate if the courtesy extended to himself, but he digresses. Soga Himiko needs a hero to sign off on her rehabilitation to get into this therapy program. If she can hack it, she'll try out for UA as a second or third year. Not for the hero course, necessarily, but I want her to interact with Vlad King. Fuyumi and Rumi pause their lovely murmuring, and Natsuo stops rummaging through the fridge to stare over his shoulder. Even Keigo is feeling some mild concern about Dabi right now, but the air doesn't fill with tension as he expects it to. Somewhat confusingly, Natsuo looks like he's plotting, and Fuyumi is smiling slightly. And Shouto just looks put out. Aizawa doesn't seem too concerned even as he asks, You convinced her? Once the headmaster did a blood test. Dabi scoffs. Saving kids is your thing. She might get a couple double looks, but nowhere near the scrutiny of anyone else I could ask. Shigaraki's gonna dust you one of these days, Keigo warns, unable to hold his tongue in the face of Dabi's recklessness. You're stealing away his frontliners. I've got plans for him too. Dabi waves his hand, entirely too blasé for comfort. He ain't as bad as you think. Traumatized and groomed by a real bastard, yeah. That's nothing irreversible. Small Might already took care of All for One. So once I get rid of that lousy doctor... Listen, it doesn't matter yet. We're talking about Toga. You in, Aizawa?
Toya!
Fuyumi calls, and finally, the room starts taking in the concerned tension Keigo has been feeling.
You're moving too quickly. Be careful.
I always am, he smiles.
Shouto flicks the top cut of the deck at him. You're a crappy liar, Aniki.
Wow, that's the Pomeranian's influence, he teases. You swearing at me too, baby brother? Toyani, All for One is dangerous, Natsuo warns. Keigo revises his mental notes about the dynamic between the League and the Todoroki siblings by adding several question marks. Even behind bars, you need to be careful. Dabi sighs, apparently incredibly inconvenienced. An ace of spades sticks out of his hair as he meets each of his siblings' eyes. I'm not gonna die. Not on purpose, at least. I like stealing the old man's thunder too much. And he's pretty good at it, too,
Keigo thinks absently. Crime being down isn't something he would attribute directly to Dabi's influence, of course, but... wait. Actually... He knows he shouldn't, but Keigo runs his mouth anyway. Dabi, you're actually, ridiculously charismatic and effective. Without missing a beat, Dabi winks. I know. Make it sound more like a compliment next time. Maybe take the cards out of your hair before you start preening. Fumi snarks. You're still number 2 in the league, Keigo explains, even though you've considerably thinned the ranks. And you were key to clearing out those Yakuza wannabes and saving Eraser and Mike's newest kid. Dabi narrows his eyes, the smug look fading as Keigo doesn't follow the usual script. It's good to remind yourself that I'm great at everything I do, Tweety, but I'm not really in the mood for an interrogation. You come up with personalized rehabilitation plans, convince people to abide by them, and somehow make sure everything works out as planned. Keigo is on a roll, words falling out of the hero's mouth as soon as he thinks of them. The whole room is watching him now. Not to mention how quickly you got multiple heroes to warm up to you. That silver tongue of yours, too. You make it look easy to motivate people from all walks of life to not only sympathize with, but also understand your point of view. Genuinely confused, Dabi asks, "Are you accusing me of something?" What? Why would... Never mind. No, I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm saying you're, an impressive person. A real agent of change, you know? The good kind, I mean. Eloquent, Dabi notes, dismissing the whole of this conversation. Anyways... Fuyumi interjects, pointing at Keigo as she nods. You have a point, Keigo. Ya-chan got Magne, of all people, into anger management and therapy. And now she's a cultural critic who's co-written a book providing social commentary on gender roles and trauma in villains. I pre-ordered it already. Rumi laughs. Remember her appearance on that conservative news show? As if anyone could forget, the producers called Mirko to arrest Magne on air, and Rumi left with the other's signature across her thigh. I know her podcast is supposed to have a limited run, but it's absolute gold. Man, I love Big Sis. Dabi looks between them, frowning. I won't stop you from singing my praises, but don't credit me for Mag's business. She did that. So give your flowers to her directly. You have her number. Hawks. Shouto hero names him, so this is serious. What's with all the sudden compliments? He frowns, like he doesn't want to use the words. For Aniki. What are you actually saying? Well, nothing, really. The thought struck him and his filters are down. It doesn't take more than that to share with the crowd. But if Shouto is so generously willing to lay out the red carpet, the chatterbox won't miss his chance. As Keigo likes to say, if you can't witness homegrown drama, instigating it is fine. Dabi, do you want to run for Prime Minister? Of Japan? He bursts into laughter. With this face? Dabs, I'm serious. With that level of authority, plus your backbone, you could enact all the sweeping changes you talk about. From criminal rehabilitation to keeping your father in check. Keigo eyes him carefully for a reaction. You could do it all. There's a moment of silence, wherein Dabi convinces himself of Keigo's sincerity. Promptly, he nods. And that, everyone, is our sign that Zazu here has had enough to drink. At least pick a red bird. He flutters his wings pointedly. Come on, Aniki. Natsuo smirks. He might have a point. Then I'll call him Iago. I'm not the villain here. But you are the one with your stick up your butt, so bluebird it is. Ha! Bluebird means blue balls. Rumi snorts. Now that's fitting. Okay, so we're getting off track. Let's talk about this Prime Minister gig. Shouto interrupts. Aizawa mouths gig with exhausted disappointment. Natsuo and Keigo lean forward in anticipation. Let's hear him out, Aniki. Don't tag team me. He glares between the offending trio. Be for real. And if you can't do that, then you gotta at least be funny. Rumi interjects, horrified, before Dabi can properly lay into them. Oh no, I'd vote for you. Like, unironically, totally serious, I'd vote for you. Well, you're definitely drunk, so no surprises there. Dabi sighs. Don't sweat it too much, Bugs. Iguchi Shuichi runs a decently popular vlog instead of targeting heroes these days. Thanks in part to you. Aizawa comes through as an unexpected ally. His swordplay tutorials are well received, and his passionate campaign for the explicit inclusion of anti-racist literature and practices with no respect to heteromorphic quirks successfully affected education and employment policy. Yeah, and he does all of it from the safety of an undisclosed location while his signal is bounced off an ungodly number of satellites to prevent... Yumi interrupts. You think a similar method would work with Dabi's candidacy? Get his message out while protecting his location, I mean? Natsuo answers for the room. Why not? He works pretty quickly, so by the time they find him, he'd be too beloved by the public for anyone to seriously punish him. Back in the real world for a sec, Dabi interjects. You see how this is a problem, right? No one should escape the consequences of their actions just because they've endeared themselves to the public. Fair. Shouto nods. But if you turn yourself in, I think they'd try to silence you. Keigo concurs. Your villainy isn't evil enough for Tartarus despite the strength of your quirk, but they'd like to make an example of you regardless. He sucks with authority figures, too. So even if they don't overcharge him, they'll find ways to keep him quiet. They'll need to. Anything less than perfect control and he'll rally the prisoners in a coup. Aizawa's wry tone speaks to his personal experience on the tail end of Dabi's charisma in his class. But are we forgetting something? There's nothing stopping him from speaking his piece first. Oh, you're right, Yumini! That could influence his sentencing. I know you hate it, Aniki, but that loophole might save your life. Shouto wonders, if you're required to do public service as the penance of your crimes, would serving as an elected representative count? Okay, so you're all mental. Dabi stares at each of them, working his jaw in something Keigo elects to call flabbergasted shock. You have fully lost your minds. Oh. The hero pretends to have a disappointing epiphany. Isn't there a lot of bureaucracy involved in the process of becoming Prime Minister, Dabi? That's a trap, he answers with narrowed eyes, his fingers tapping an endless beat on the tabletop. He's right. Keigo walked in on Dabi helping Shinso and Kaminari on a study date where they actually studied, the nerds, with their civics homework last week. The point is, Keigo knows that Dabi knows how an individual sets out to become Prime Minister. And Dabi knows that Keigo knows that he knows. If the villain rants on the subject, Keigo will use it to prove that he's taking the conversation seriously. If he tries to play the fool, Keigo will make it sound like he's buying into the idea, interested in the process. It would be a waiting game now to see who folds first, had Shouto's phone not made a distinct buzzing noise. Keigo, gleefully, and Dabi, despairingly, look in the teen's direction. I took a quick poll. He shows off the results on his screen, confirming, my friends would vote for you, Aniki, if you ran for Prime Minister. Dabi groans. If these children are our future, we're doomed as a society. Which is exactly where you'd come in! This is the longest Keigo has kept that infuriating smirk off Dabi's face, so obviously he is having the time of his life. We believe in you, Dobbs! No, absolutely not. Every single one of you has officially overstayed your welcome. Get out. Aw, come on, hot stuff! Bro, we were just playing! I actually live here now, so I'll be staying. And I'm staying with my girlfriend tonight, so... Boo, I want to stay for the sleepover too. Fuyumi winces. I mean, that's not exactly... Shouto, Natsuo, and Keigo again complain.
The sleepover! No. Dabi flatly returns to the synchronous whining. You two got class tomorrow, and you, flipping Iago, literally live next door, and I'm tired of your face. Rude! At least pretend you love me. What the heck? Dabi's glare is withering enough that he doesn't need to verbally respond to his brother. Eraser, we good to move ahead with Toga. I'll drop by the school tomorrow to hash it out fully. He's going to regret stopping by Shouto's class when all his friends are keyed up about him entering politics. But Keigo won't say anything about it now. He's looking forward to the play-by-play Shouto will provide over dinner this weekend. Aizawa, a man who surely has a sixth sense for this kind of thing, spoils Keigo's prospective fun. No. I'll sign off for Toga next week while you take over class for a day. Dabi's face sours. Gah, no, why? Stupid minister gig thing, huh? Shh, heck no, it's fine. I want to do this Friday at the latest. Works for me. Aizawa shrugs. It's your funeral. Isn't it always? Dabi finally shakes the playing cards free from his person. I'm going to sleep. Don't speak to me, and don't be here when I wake up. Keigo laughs, sharing a look with Natsuo. Thanks, Dobbs. We already know where the extra bedding is. Dabi showcases both his middle fingers over his shoulders. Aizawa takes Shouto on his way out, and Fuyumi and Rumi have already disappeared. Natsuo will have to wake up at but o'clock to make his morning class on time, but he still makes his way to the refrigerator leftovers. Keigo gets the blankets, settling in for an uncomfortable night on the couch. God, Keigo loves this place. I really enjoy Aizawa's I'll just roll with it attitude in this series, seeing as how Dabi is a semi-positive influence on his class, and the fact that he absolutely takes advantage of Dabi's presence in order to force him to teach class is 100% a thing I could see him actually doing. Like, Aizawa would do it. I'm taking a nap, the villain is teaching class, end of story, bye. The link to the original fic is in the description, as well as a link to the Stories by the Fire Discord server, if anyone wants to come chatter with me. I do enjoy constructive criticism in regards to my recordings, and I love to hear comments on the story itself. Before we leave, Spitfire has a message for you.
Like the video to support Wildfire. Subscribe to Stories by the Fire to find the rest of her videos. Hit the bell so you are notified when the next video comes up. Have a good day or night. Bye bye.